It doesn't look good when we're talking about regulation and stuff. A lot of what is going on is countries are trying to create their own digital currencies and digital asset transaction systems, and Russia is next on the list. So Russia's Sberbank, something like that, completes first digital asset transaction. A few months after Russia's top lender, Sberbank, I keep wanting to say sperm bank. They're just going to go with that. Received the trade digital financial assets license. The firm's subsidiary, Sber Factoring, completing its first DFA transaction worth around 1 billion rubles. And that is 16 million US dollars. This action comes following the bank's board deputy chairman, Natalie Popov's statement that the first transaction will come within a month. He made this known sometime last month in an interview with TASS, a state-backed media. With the license, Sberbank assured users of its use of blockchain technology and smart contracts to trade digital assets. Meanwhile, Atomize became the first Russian company licensed to trade digital assets besides Atomize and trades metal-backed tokens as digital finance assets. Russia's second largest bank, VTB, after announcing plans to trade digital assets, also completed the first digital ruble DFA trade sometime in June. Meanwhile, Russia's observation of cryptocurrency transactions remains ongoing as the authorities plan to introduce regulations soon. Regulate everything that is not controlled by the state and replace it with an inferior version controlled by the state so that you can therefore control the public. That is what is going on here. Make sure you get enough fear and uncertainty and doubt into the rest of the crypto market to let the government take control. That is what's going on these days, guys. There have been mixed signals from the country about the legal status of cryptocurrencies. A Russian lawmaker, and Natalie Aksakov, there we go, recently said the country's largest stock exchange, the Moscow Exchange, has the potential of hosting a regulated crypto exchange. In his words, that division, which will work as part of the respected organization with great traditions and highly engaged in actively interacting with the central bank, will do an excellent job with the task of handling cryptocurrency operations. I'm going to go ahead and call BS on that and say, no, it will not. That's how I feel. This is the polar opposite of what the Russian central bank has been saying about crypto. The bank's governor, Elvira Nabulina, oh man, they're killing me with these Russian names. I better go study some Russian. Said cryptocurrency should not be traded on organized marketplaces because these assets are too volatile, too risky for potential investors. I had this argument with someone the other day on Twitter too, because they were saying, you know, Bitcoin's too volatile. And I was like, and they were like, the dollar's stable. And I was like, if the dollar's stable, why are we paying 40% more for everything? Right? Like, why are we paying 40% more for housing and gases and cars, energy? Why are we like, that means that inherently even the dollar isn't that stable right now. I'm just saying, just think about that. Just because the dollar is a dollar and you still get the same amount of money for how much you work doesn't mean that the dollar's worth the same. Okay? You're worth less now. Your work is just worth less now. Meanwhile, the United States is pushing to further isolate Russia's economy by urging Japan to shut crypto exchanges with links to the country. Russia has faced increased sanctions from the rest of the world because of its invasion of Ukraine. However, despite the unclear status of crypto, Russians are actively trading cryptocurrencies through foreign exchanges. And this is not just happening in Russia because of the sanctions either. This is happening everywhere. We talked about Argentina and the huge increase in trading for stable coins on cryptocurrency markets to kind of bypass the regulations that are going on in Argentina. And that is because, of course, the Argentine dollar is taking a huge dive and is severely, unreliable for them. So they are moving into stable coins, which is an interesting move because obviously the stable coins are based off of typically the US dollar. And so they want to move into the US dollar, but they can't. So they have to use blockchain technology to do it. And it's pretty incredible. Eventually, what the question would be is how far down does the US dollar have to come down in price before people start doing this and moving not into stable coins, but into things like Bitcoin? BIS calls for global collaboration with CBDC designs. They want a global CBDC, is really what the end game is. The Swiss-based Bank for International Settlements on Monday released a report produced in collaboration with the IMF and World Bank. The Bank for International Settlements, BIS, has asked for countries to cooperate at the early stages of central bank digital currency design to make it easier for systems to work across borders. Each jurisdiction will have its own legal framework, but many design features for CBDCs, which are digital versions of existing sovereign currencies like the US dollar, are still undecided, allowing central banks to start with a clean slate, according to a just released BIS joint report with the International Monetary Fund and World Bank. The conclusions are in line with those of Cecilia Skingsley, who is first deputy governor of Sweden's central bank and set to become head of the innovation arm at BIS, which is based in Basel, Switzerland. 2 weeks ago, she warned of the potential for countries to not play nicely with one another with respect to CBDC design. Quote, to promote coexistence with other forms of money and payment instruments and reasonable levels of adoption of CBDC, interoperability with non-CBDC systems, both domestically and cross-border, is fundamental, Paz report says. That countries around the globe are looking into establishing a CBDC, at least in part in response to the crypto market boom, is no secret. The Bahamas was the first to launch a digital currency named the Sand Dollar in 2020, and China has pushed forward with its trial of the digital yuan, and Nigeria launched its own CBDC, the Naira, in October of last year. When constructing a CBDC, central banks would have to decide on some key issues like who gets to use the CBDCs and whether private payment companies will be able to access their CBDC infrastructure. According to the BIS report, central banks could either agree to a set of common standards or use different interlinking systems that still allow people to transact with one another, or just have a single access point between systems. Each of the CBDC access models has different implications around risks, efficiency, resilience, and interoperability. The report continues, noting there is no one-size-fits-all solution. For example, while compatibility might be the least costly form of interoperability, it may not achieve efficiency benefits similar to interlinking multiple systems or developing a single system, the report says. Overall, interlinking CBDC systems through a hub and spoke, where a common hub connects two or more separate CBDC systems, or a single system model that uses similar infrastructure and a common rulebook, might bring more improvement to the cross-border payments market than other options, according to the report. The BIS sets out 5 criteria for central banks to consider when moving along with their CBDC options. Central banks must do no harm, enhance efficiency, increase resilience, assure coexistence and interoperability with other systems, and bolster financial inclusion, the report says. I have a feeling it has nothing to do with that, because if we take a look at what's going on in China right now, they are storming the banks trying to get their money out. So if you have a CBDC version of it, it makes that even more difficult, right? Because now you can't get your yuan, because your yuan is just a digital asset that is locked down by the nation state. And it's extremely interesting times. Once again, I will state it as I always state it. I am pro cryptocurrency, anti CBDC. And that is where I stand. I don't think I'll shift on that at any given time. If you have an argument for central bank digital currencies, please let me know in the live stream, or of course in the comment section post. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. You can check out the full episode here, or more crypto content down here. Also, I'd like you to check out my locals page at sonofatech.locals.com, where you can become a member for free, or choose to be a $5 a month supporter that unlocks additional content.